Paul Murphy from People for Profit, Kirsten Farrelly from Mothers Against Genocide, Jenny Maguire is the president of the Trinity College Students' Union. And these are all amazing campaigners and activists and people who have been speaking out and doing work both inside and outside the Oireachtas in relation to celebrating and valuing peace and neutrality. And I'm going to just pass along the line, more or less in the order I said it, and I just want to give a quick acknowledgement to, just before we begin, to some of the other civil society groups, including the Irish Healthcare Workers for Gaza's Swords, the Irish Anti-War Movement, Neutrality Now, the Uplift, the Kildare Palestinian Solidarity, Pals for Palestine, World Beyond War, AFRI, PANA, the Stop Shannon LNG Coalition, Future Generations. There's actually a huge list. The list is probably too long, but we will be having it in the press release as well. So you can see the huge breadth of organisations across Irish society and in areas and towns and regions across Ireland as well, who are coming together to say they value neutrality, we're together for neutrality, and we want to see it protected, valued and enhanced. So I'm going to pass now to Dullica.
Yeah, Gurmeen Magat, and we're a bit tight for time, so can you 2-3 minutes?
Exactly.
Okay. Look, it's very clear that the government are very determined to push on very rapidly with ending the triple lock, and it's really, really important, and it's a key message that's coming out of the committee and from all of us here, is that this isn't some adjustment, some amendment, some tinkering with the triple lock. It is the ending of the triple lock. There will no longer be any international mandate required for a peacekeeping mission, and that is crucially important because of, at this moment in time, the international legal order is under threat, and for all the flaws that exist in terms of the UN, it is the standard in terms of international law. It's become clear already in the first set of hearings in the committee that ultimately a government of the day that commands a majority will be in a position to deploy troops to whatever mission they so wish. We strongly disagree with that. We believe it does undermine Irish neutrality, and we think it is a decision that is rash, that is short-term, and potentially exposes Ireland to very significant risk into the future. Neutrality is a strength for Ireland. It has bolstered our international reputation. We are in a very unique position. We are a small country. We will never be a major power, but we carry enormous international weight for a number of reasons, partly because of connections in terms of our peoples with places such as Britain and America and Australia and elsewhere, but also because of our history and the fact that we, as a country that was colonised, share a fellow feeling with countries around the world that has allowed us to develop links, that has allowed our peacekeepers to enjoy a high standard of respect internationally. And in my opinion, the issue of the neglect of the defence forces has been wrongly conflated with this issue. And it is actually the neglect of the defence forces that forced the withdrawal of Irish troops from the Golan Heights. We have, all of us I believe, on this platform here, and I think the Irish public, broadly speaking, have huge respect for the defence forces and huge respect for the role that they have carried out in many international peacekeeping missions, and that we hold them in very high esteem. But it is successive governments that have let them down, and that needs to be addressed in that respect. Ultimately, it's very clear that the government is very determined to proceed with this. The committee hearings and everything to do with it and everything to do with the legislation will be a crucial part of that. But ultimately, we also know that it won't be stopped in the Dáil and the Shannon and committee rooms alone. It will require feet on the street. It will require people power. And that is why this Saturday is so crucially important. That is why we are calling on people across the country to mobilise. We have a strong set of speakers, and I know that there are people coming from right across the country. So we hope to see a very significant crowd there, and I'm encouraging the largest possible attendance to the march on Saturday.
Thank you very much, Delegate. I'm going to pass to you, Duncan.
Thank you.
I'll get to you, Kristen.
Thank you, Alice Mary. There are two pillars on which Ireland's international reputation has been forged. It's our commitment to development and development aid, and our commitment to peacekeeping, two things we're both very proud of. Why is the big question here? Why are the government rushing this through? Why do they want to remove the triple lock? We've just come from a briefing in relation to the Occupied Territories Bill and related legal cases, and one thing we have spoken about in that debate is Ireland's leadership role. in terms of bringing forward legislation and hopefully other states will follow and creating a domino effect. What will happen here if we remove the triple lock is that we are the last domino in Europe to fall on this, when we should be doubling down on our commitment to multilateralism, on our commitment to the UN, which is under huge attack from all forces all over the world, from the United States, from Russia, and loads in between. We believe in the United Nations. We're proud of our relationship with the United Nations. We shouldn't be turning our back on it. So why, if they remove the triple lock, what is the reason? It's because they want the ability to deploy our troops in some other manner. Most likely and most logically through the European Union, and we know that there's a huge increase in militarism within the EU and Common Defence Union talks and all the rest, and that's a whole space that needs to be discussed and challenged and all the rest. But we need to do that from a position of ensuring that we are committed to the United Nations, committed to the triple lock. It's a sophisticated position that we have, and it's one that we should protect. And it's one that we believe across opposition, and I do believe there are people in government that share our position, and we need to reach out to them and try to get them to change the minds of what's going on in Cabinet at the moment. And the public are on our side. With the public are exercised at the moment about a number of things in international affairs. They do have the space and capacity to care about this too, and we need to communicate with them, and they need to join us on the streets this Saturday, because as Donncha says, it won't just be in the committee room, it won't just be in the Shannon or in the Dáil chamber that we protect this triple lock. It will be on the streets and showing that the people of Ireland do care about our neutrality, do care about our position in the world, and do want to be leaders in terms of peacekeeping and multilateralism, and do want to protect the United Nations.
Thank you very much again. Kirsten from Mothers Against Genocide.
So, I'm here speaking as a member of Mothers Against Genocide, and I'm here because we refuse to accept a world where children's futures are gambled away and they are quietly ushered into unnecessary wars that line the pockets of the few. Day after day, we watch the devastation wrought by the war machine. Families are torn apart, futures are stolen, and the horrors that we're seeing recently are just unbelievable. And I will not stand by while our children are conscripted to kill or be killed as part of this machine. Our most powerful defence is Ireland's long-standing neutrality, safeguarded by the triple lock, 3 essential checks: a UN Security Council mandate, government approval and Dáil Éireann approval, before ever deploying our defence forces abroad. This isn't bureaucracy, it's a built-in protection against being drawn into someone else's wars. Now, some inside Leinster House are chipping away at this shield. They claim it's about efficiency or aiding global peace efforts. As a mother, I ask, would you send your child into a war zone to kill or be killed by someone else's child because it's more convenient? Would you risk their life in an undeclared war, or worse, a corporate conflict dressed up as peacekeeping? I say no. We will not allow our children to be a tool in someone else's profit-driven violence. Irish neutrality is more than policy. It is moral courage. The triple lock ensures our defence forces operate under a UN mandate, not hidden agendas. That's why our peacekeepers are respected globally. They go where they're invited to protect the civilians and deliver aid. If we dismantle this, we risk not just sending troops, we risk betraying our reputation as a neutral, compassionate nation, a global conscience, and this would make us all less safe. We believe in peace built on dignity and justice, not military might. We will continue to support UN peacekeeping missions where there's a genuine mandate and full civilian oversight and clear humanitarian purposes. But we will not be part of EU battle groups, secret expansions, NATO entanglements, or weaponised diplomacy. So today I'm here for the next generation who deserve a future free of foreign bullets, foreign agendas and foreign profit. And we demand keep the triple lock intact, no exceptions, enshrine neutrality in concrete legal protections, reject any legislation that threatens to send our young people into unmandated wars. And we ask you, mothers, fathers, families, human beings, to stand with us this Saturday, the 14th of June, at 2 p.m. at the Garden of Remembrance in Dublin, as we march for neutrality and march for peace. We will mobilise not only our bodies, but our hope, for peace for our children and for real global justice. We will hold the line. We will not be silent while our children's futures are gambled away. We are the mothers who refuse, the parents who stand strong, and the people who reject war profiteering in any name. Let us show the government that Irish neutrality is not for sale. It belongs to all of us, and above all, our children. So we hope to see you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirsten. To pass to Patricia Stevenson now from the Social Democrats.
Thank you so much, and I think I probably will be echoing a lot of what the other speakers have already said. I know that everyone is incredibly proud of the Irish Defence Forces and what they've done in their peacekeeping years over the last decades, and particularly what they've done in Lebanon. It's really important to acknowledge that, because the work that they're doing is about peacekeeping and it's about human rights, and we've really seen that in South Lebanon. Ireland has always played a really unique role in terms of global politics because we are seen as neutral, because of our role in peace building, and I think that's such an important thing for us to hang on to. The reality is the triple lock is fundamental. It's fundamental to our neutrality, and giving up the triple lock will actually change how people perceive us in the world. It will change people's understanding of Ireland's neutrality, and I think that puts us at great risk. And I also think it prevents us from being leaders in peace, the leaders that we have already been over the last decades. We have been leaders in human rights, we have been leaders in peace, whether that's through development or whether it's through our peacekeeping. And I think it's really fundamental that, given the context, the world is changing. We can all acknowledge that. No one here is naive to the changing nature of global politics. But within that, we should be grasping tight our role in human rights and peace building more than ever before. And key to that is the triple lock, and it is multilateralism, and turning our backs on, as we've already discussed, kind of the challenges of the UN that are, there are challenges, but turning our backs on that is turning our backs on multilateralism. And without dialogue and without working together, we really have nothing. And the breakdown into smaller regional blocks, which we've seen historically, it doesn't actually lead to greater peace. And greater militarisation doesn't actually lead to peace. The more you spend on peace, the greater peace you have. The more you spend on military, the greater conflict you have. That's just the reality of it. I would like to say, given the incredible efforts of our defence forces, they are the pay, remuneration and supports that they're given, the basic support that goes into the defence forces is really, really appalling. And we do need to see a commitment from the government to improve that area. And just to finish up, I suppose, we need to see greater investment in the defence forces, but equal to that, we need to see, the funding that we're seeing at the EU level towards militarisation should be spent on housing, healthcare, education, childcare, and the basics that we need to have a prosperous society. At the end of the day, your voices really do matter. The voices of everyday Irish people, we've seen that in the huge amounts of groundwork and the activism that's gone in to the rights of Palestinian people and the Gaza activism. People power matters, and using your voice matters. So we really hope that as many of you can come on Saturday. Kids welcome, dogs welcome, make it a family event. This is about community. It's about recognising what we are, what Ireland represents, and being there together to have our voices heard. So yeah, as many of you can come as possible. And if not, don't forget to write in. If you can't come, use your voices on social media, use your emails, make phone calls, and have your voices heard, because your voice matters. People power matters, and that's what we're here today to encourage. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pass over to Paul, but just to mention, in terms of making it a family event, it is also going to be, and it's important to acknowledge, some amazing artists who will also be taking part on Saturday, and I think it will actually be a very powerful and beautiful event. We're going to have performances from Lisa O'Neill, from Landless, from John Francis Flynn, amongst others. So, as I say, it is one to come and to bring your family to, and to take the time to enjoy the music, the message, the solidarity that we're going to have afterwards in terms of some of the really amazing speakers and really amazing artists who are going to be contributing. I'm going to pass to Paul Murphy from People Before Profit.
Thanks, Miriam. In 2013, Micheál Martin said that the triple lock is at the core of our neutrality. That was correct in 2013, and it's still correct today. What we've seen in the heads of bill from the government and in what happened in the committee 2 weeks ago just copper fastens our belief that the triple lock is at the core of neutrality. People should be clear that what's in the heads of bill would mean, if passed into law, one, a complete scrapping of the triple lock. I mean, the civil servant agreed at the committee meeting that this is not an amending of the triple lock, it's not a reform of the triple lock, as the government like to talk about, it's an end of the triple lock. Secondly, it would mean that up to 50 troops, Irish troops, could be sent abroad anywhere without being subject to any restrictions whatsoever. So it's gone up from 12 to 50, a huge change. Thirdly, that in terms of the operation of the supposed double lock, which is no lock whatsoever, it's a government decision which will have a majority in the Dáil, that is not restricted to UN peacekeeping. It's very explicit that it envisages regional arrangements, which was clear in the committee meeting from the civil servant that would include the European Union, it would include NATO, it would include so-called coalitions of the willing. Fourthly, that this is not just about peacekeeping. If you read the heads of bills, it's about strengthening international security is one of the reasons the troops could be sent abroad. So without even a fig leaf of peacekeeping, simply a government in the future would have to say, we want to send over 50 troops abroad to strengthen international security as part of a NATO mission. And the top civil servant at the committee meeting 2 weeks ago admitted that if this becomes law, and let's say if this was law back in 2003, the then government could have sent troops abroad to participate in the invasion of Iraq. She admitted that. She said, that's clear. International security, it's a coalition of the willing. If you have a government that wants to do it, they could have done it. And let's remember, we had a government that did support that invasion in the sense of allowing Shannon Airport to be used for millions of troops to go to do that invasion, prior to that to do the invasion of Afghanistan. So this is clear. I mean, from my point of view, if this was a matter of public opinion, I think that admission that they could have sent troops abroad to Iraq would be the end of the story. That would be it. The debate would be over. The government would go home. They would not bring this forward again. The problem is, of course, this is not about just public opinion. The government has a majority in the Dáil, in the Seanad, will try and use that to ram this through. And it's why what the government is doing. If you want to defend and you want to save neutrality, you need to get mobilised. It's why Together for Neutrality has such a broad span of organisations of all people coming from different places, politically, civil society organisations and so on, coming together to say this is the moment to save neutrality, is that public opinion, which is very, very clear, which wants to save neutrality, needs to become mobilised. Needs to get on the streets. We need significant numbers of people this Saturday if we're going to put pressure on the government to stop, to withdraw and to leave our neutrality alone.
Thank you very much. And again, just to very briefly echo what Paul has said, it was explicitly clear in the first pre-legislative hearing, was very clear, again, direct questions in relation to what kind of missions, EU-led and NATO-led, were repeatedly referenced and repeatedly confirmed. There was also clear confirmation in relation to a coalition of the willing, such as in Iraq, and given explicitly that example. So these are really key messages, and I believe, as Duncan mentioned, I actually believe a lot of government members are not that comfortable with this either. And that's why sending a message out in the public, in the street, and being there on Saturday, as well as following up with all of your representatives from all parties. I believe a number of the government members are also very uncomfortable because many of them do understand that neutrality is not just a technical term that means membership of a coalition formally or of an organisation, that neutrality is something active and precious and that you compromise it when you engage in, for example, large-scale deployment of troops for the purpose of strengthening international security, a completely undefined term. And they see the danger in that. And we should all see the danger in that. I'm going to pass to our last speaker, and I want to just we have to give huge congratulations to everybody in Trinity for their recent really significant work in